after leaving the dock for the first time, but before putting sails up, is a good opportunity to get used to the handling and the manoeuvrability of the boat under power. You can check the effect of the windage. You can try manoeuvring astern, both upwind and downwind. Perhaps most useful of all, you can practice turning the boat on the spot using just the engines.
Now, I'm putting a beam onto the wind now. I assume there's no current here. I don't think there is. I'll just stop her right there. Bearing in mind we've got obviously the fixed keels each side, which are resisting the boat being skittering along sideways. I'd say that looks quite good actually. I think it's moving less than I thought it would. If we look down at the water on the windward side, if it's moving at any speed, we can begin to see slight swirls in the water there, but just a little bit there, but looks fairly good. Okay, we just get a feeling for what happens sternboard, going stern first. And we got the wind right on our bow, so we'll stick everything in slow astern. And we just want to see how much the rudders alone, without using the engine, just use the engine to start her off, and then the head's blowing off now. I'm putting the helm over to port, but I'm using the starboard engine quite a lot, so at the moment it isn't the rudders that are doing any good, it's the engines. If I want to bring the bow up a bit more, I can go ahead with the port engine like that. That's all back to neutral again now. The boat is moving backwards now. I can actually give her a little bit of way on with the engines, and then stop the engines and see if I can feel whether the rudders are steering her. I'm bit of starboard helm at the moment, see if that corrects her. No, the bow is still being blown off at the moment, so that's probably about the optimum power I can get out of the rudder at the moment, and it's still the bow is blowing off, so the windage is certainly taking over here now. I can cure it, of course, by using the engines. If I take the port one out, put starboard one ahead with that amount of, put the helm the other way, she'll soon come up again. That obviously overrides everything. But I got the feeling then that she was not responding to the helm going astern, but it was largely because there's now 12, 13 knots of wind, and it was catching the bow and blowing the bow off, so you probably expect that. So it's not really a fair test in a way, but it does warn you that you are dependent on the engine controls, not the rudder, when there's any wind about. And I'm going astern with the port engine, give a little more revs, and that's making it so we're not really moving forward anymore. Give a bit more power on that, and then I'll go ahead on the, very slow ahead on the other one. And you'll see that by looking at various transits each side of me, I can see that the boat's not going anywhere, and we're just rotating gently. Going forward a little bit now, so I'm going a bit more astern on the port engine. I'm looking at transits out to the side of me now to look for any motion. Pretty well stationary. Now the bow will be picking up some heavy windage now as it goes against the wind there, but it's having no trouble overcoming it. I've only got 1,000 revs on one engine. I'm still not on purpose using the helm because I want to see the engines do it really. I'm struggling a little bit now because of the wind catching the bow and trying to blow it back off downwind again. Our rotation is slowing down now a little bit, but it's getting there. And if I, just to exaggerate, if I give her a bit more power now, I mean, there's no problem. There's bags of reserve there, so that's useful to know. And there we are, back head to wind again, and we're pretty well in the same place. So what can we say? Once again, don't count on the rudders, count on the engines. And it's actually, the windage problem is only a problem in that it's blowing the bow off. But when we were absolutely beam on, she seemed to lie fairly stably like that. And the amount of drift down to leeward was really not much.
arriving into a new and possibly unknown port can present another test of close quarters manoeuvring.
Okay, we've got quite a strong wind coming in right up our stern at the moment, and we're going to come in starboard side too on a pontoon over here, and we've elected to come stern first. That's partly because if we come in bow first, the bow could get blown quite suddenly against the dock, or if we go too far the other way, it could be peeled back by the wind and set us in the wrong direction again. So we'd like to come stern first with the boat at this kind of angle in the dock here. We'll see how that works. Okay, we're approaching this pontoon stern first. It's partly because we've got a better view of the stern than we have in the bow. The other thing is there's quite a lot of wind behind us, and I'd be concerned that the bow would get either carried suddenly onto the dock or peel away from it at the wrong minute. So I think stern first is a good option here. Once again, the catamaran thing comes into its own, because although we got all this windage, we got such good control with two widespread engines that it shouldn't be too difficult. Shorten up on that, that's good, yeah. Okay, I'm leaving her just slightly ahead until we get a forward spring on.